It's really fascinating how one race can have such a huge impact, not just on who wins, but on how people even see the whole sport.
How did this one single event become like the it race for the entire, the entire sport? So picture this, okay? It's 2 a.m. You're in Chamonix, France.
What?
You are jammed in with like 2,500 other runners, and you're about to run 104 miles around Mont Blanc. Headlamps are like flickering everywhere.
UTMB stands for the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc.
Oh.
It's 104 miles of pure grit and determination. And you're talking 33,000 feet of elevation gain. Just running, you're climbing. And you're doing it through France, Italy, and Switzerland. It's a true test of endurance in every sense of the word.
It's like the Boston Marathon, but like on another level. You know how hard it is to get into the Boston Marathon? UTMB, I feel like, takes it to a whole other level. Only 2,500 runners make the cut every year. So how do you even get in?
That's the question everybody wants to know the answer to.
Is it a lottery or something?
It's a little more complicated than just a straight lottery. You have a point system. So you earn points by finishing other races, qualifying races. And the more points you have, the better your chance. But even with enough points, there's still a lottery aspect. So even getting to the starting line is a huge accomplishment. And that exclusivity adds to the race's prestige. You've got top American runners vying for a spot alongside champions from Kenya, Spain, Japan. It's a truly global field.
No wonder it's so competitive. Mimi Kotka, she's done UTMB a bunch of times, and she describes the race as having this like mythical status.
It does have that kind of aura around it, doesn't it? Like it's this legendary event that everyone wants to be a part of. And that mythical status that comes with it, that comes with a ton of pressure too. You're not just racing against the clock and the elements. You're also competing against the best of the best on this incredibly challenging course.
Speaking of the course, Kotka mentioned it's runnable in the beginning, but then it gets worse and worse.
Can you imagine tackling sections like the Grand Col Ferret, brutal climb at high altitude, with stunning views, but also the potential for like unpredictable weather, to be prepared for anything.
So it's not just like physically grueling, but mentally demanding too.
That's what makes it so captivating to watch though.
Yeah, and that actually makes me think about the article called it the spectator sport of trail running.
It really has become that, hasn't it? Before UTMB, ultra running coverage was pretty limited, but now with drones, helicopters, and cameras worn by the runners themselves, you can follow the entire race from start to finish.
It's like you're right there with them.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
And UTMB's website takes it even further.
Really?
With detailed elevation breakdowns, estimated arrival times for different points, and a live leaderboard. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. That shift from a niche sport to something that people are actively watching and following. Huge change for ultra running.
But I feel like all this growth and attention has to come with some challenges, right? How do you keep the spirit of the sport intact,
right,
while also like embracing this new level of popularity?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it leads us to some of the growing pains that UTMB and the sport as a whole are facing right now. I think one of the biggest is balancing the grassroots origins of ultra running, with the increasing professionalism and commercialization that comes with events like UTMB.
So is it becoming like too big, too commercial?
UTMB partnered with Ironman in 2021.
Ironman.
And Ironman is known for its massive, highly commercialized events. And some worry that UTMB could lose its unique character under their influence.
It's like they're walking a tightrope. On one side, you have the excitement of growth and global recognition. And then on the other, there's the risk of losing like the essence of what makes ultra running so unique.
And it's not just about the corporate influence either. There's also concerns about gender equality.
Okay.
Especially in terms of media coverage. Right.
Like how much screen time are women actually getting?
That's a question a lot of people are asking. And while there have been strides in promoting women in ultra running, there's still a noticeable disparity.
Yeah.
How men and women are represented.
Yeah.
In broadcasts and media coverage.
It's like other sports,
where
the men's events often get more attention,
right,
even when the women are achieving some incredible thing.
Exactly. And it's not just about fairness either.
Okay.
It's also about inspiring the next generation of runners. If young girls don't see women being celebrated for their accomplishments in ultra running, they're less likely to see themselves in that space.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So how do we fix that? Is it about putting pressure on broadcasters, or is it more about changing the overall culture of the sport?
It's probably a combination of both. But the conversation is happening, which is a positive sign. People are becoming more aware of these biases,
right,
and are actively working to create a more inclusive and equitable sport.
It sounds like there's a real push and pull
Yeah,
between like the old guard and the new wave of ultra running.
exactly. And it raises the question of what will the future of UTMB and ultra running even look like? Will it maintain its rugged individualism, or will it become more mainstream, more accessible, and perhaps lose some of its mystique in the process?
It's a tough question to answer.
Yeah.
But speaking of the future, we can't overlook the incredible athletic achievements that we've seen at UTMB, especially this year.
This year's race was truly remarkable. Both the men's and women's course records were shattered. So on the women's side, we had Katie Scheid, an American runner sponsored by the North Face, finishing in an unbelievable time of 22 hours, 9 minutes, and 31 seconds.
Wait, 22 hours for 104 miles? My brain can't even...
It's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
And not only is it a new course record,
Okay.
but it also puts her in an elite group. She's one of only 4 people to ever win both UTMB and the Western States 100 in the same year.
Now that's what I call a legendary runner.
And then on the men's side, there's Vincent Bouillard, a Hoka athlete who won the men's race in an equally astonishing time of 19 hours, 54 minutes, and 23 seconds. He's only the 5th person to ever break the 20-hour mark at UTMB.
These times are just insane.
They're pushing the limits of what we thought was humanly possible. And it highlights how the sport is evolving, how these athletes are training smarter, using technology to their advantage and pushing each other to new heights. A top finish at UTMB can open doors to sponsorships, invitations to other prestigious races.
It's like the Olympics of ultra running. If you win here, you've basically made it.
And it speaks to the power of UTMB as a platform, not just for individual athletes, but for the sport as a whole.
So what does this all mean for the future of UTMB and for ultra running in general? Yeah, it really does feel like UTMB is at a crossroads, you know?
Yeah.
Like where it has to decide what it wants to be.
It's a fascinating moment in the sport's history. On the one hand, you have this incredible growth, increased visibility, and the potential for even bigger things. But then there's that risk of losing that raw, authentic spirit that drew people to ultra running in the first place.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
It really is.
What would you say has been UTMB's biggest impact on ultra running?
I think for me, it's the way UTMB has just broadened the appeal of ultra running in general. It's gone from this niche, almost underground activity to something that people all over the world are watching and getting excited about. And with that comes more support for athletes, more opportunities for everyone,
Right.
and more people just being inspired to push their own limits.